Straight to the top, moving like clock, we be them champions. I got a draw, ball in the box, we be them champions. I'm repping the squad, badge on the top, we be the champions. Getting them gone, a bag on the up, just like a champion. Straight to the top, moving like clock, we be them champions. I got a draw, ball in the box, we be them champions. I'm repping the squad, badge on the top, we be the champions.
Yes. Episode 8.
Live
Champions
inside.
Challenge.
Come on.
Chat with champions. Your boy Trunky.
Yeah.
What you saying, bro? You good?
Nothing, man, dead.
Right.
So, what's the latest?
Let's touch on the Premier League. Let's start with the Premier League. Liverpool, 6 points off, game in hand. What are you saying? Do you think they're gonna win it? You think City still got it in the bag?
I was gonna say, is it possible? You know what? I'll be honest. Pep has always been saying, and that's why I know we talk about Pep a lot, but that's why I kind of listen. Every player says it. Think about the next game in hand, but everyone got excited. Oh, Man City are running away with it. Oh, it's over. It's done. And every time they interview Pep after a game, he would say, "Guys, it's just a game. There's like 11 games left. We know how quickly it can change. It might even be more than 11, but we know how quickly it can change. 3 points, 1 point. Arsenal got a late winner the other day. Exactly. We'll come on to that. So, yeah, it's kind of very hard to call, to be honest.
I'm not gonna lie. I think even when I think Man City were quite far in front, 13 points. Obviously, Liverpool had games in hand and stuff. I don't know. I feel like people call it so early nowadays. Like, just because someone goes on a good run or whatever, people call it so early. Like, anyone that was saying that Man City kind of had it in the bag early, I mean, everyone kind of thought it, but I just think your modern day football fan is just always has that fickle moment. Like, anything can change. One bad week and the whole thing's changed. Look at Liverpool now. I would never thought Liverpool would have been this close to Man City. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Real.
But I think like same thing like that whole Arsenal thing we was talking about, how now Pep's a god at Arsenal.
You mean Arteta?
That's it. Arteta's a god at Arsenal. Look at me. Everything's about Pep, you know. And if they go and lose two games,
I wouldn't quite say he's a god just yet. I mean, listen, they're gassed. And obviously when they won, you're seeing certain images of people screaming Arteta's name. And rightfully so to a degree, because he gets the brunt when it goes wrong. I think like we mentioned in our last episode, just about the transition and the transformation he's making. Give him time and you'll see, I think he'll come good. But yeah, in my opinion, yeah, fans are fickle. The game changes in a split second.
Constantly,
It's
bruv.
very, very difficult to call.
Constantly. So what? You think they're getting top 4?
Who, Arsenal?
Yeah. You think United's getting top 4?
Nah, we're done. United this year, I think dropping points to Watford, like near enough the bottom of the league, is embarrassing. At home, embarrassing. About Arsenal quickly, I think, yeah, they'll get top 4. I didn't think so before, but I just think the way they're going, just how you see the productivity, and just they've got a plan, an identity. Do you know what I mean? So even if they do fail, they'll fail doing it the way that they're trying to do it. Whereas United are just kind of,
Well, let's see.
yeah, it is what it is. Individual performances. And I'm not going to say it doesn't seem like there's a plan, because I think when I listen to Ranić and he gives his post-match interviews and stuff, you can see the guy knows what he's talking about. If we're just going off his speech and just his understanding of football, positioning, everything he says is kind of how the game has played out or should have played out. But I think the transition from obviously speaking about it and the player executing it is not quite there yet. And whether that's them not listening to him or not wanting to listen, or maybe they're not good enough, some of them, but there's definitely a kind of disconnect between what's going on in the training ground to what actually is displayed on the field. So no top 4 for United. Basically. What were you saying? You think top 4 United?
I really don't know, bruv. Because I still think there's so much big games to play, man. Like, Arsenal still have to play Liverpool. I think Arsenal still have to play us. Still have to play United. Big games. Obviously, City still have to play Liverpool. Like, of course, we can all predict it and stuff like that. I mean, I think Man U will just scrape it. I think we'll just scrape it.
You think so?
Yeah, man. I don't know. I just feel like...
So what? Who's your top 4? Like right now, because it's always going to change, I think. But right now, who are you saying top 4? In what order?
City.
So they're winning it, yeah.
Yeah, winning it.
Mm-hmm.
Liverpool, Chelsea,
Mm-hmm.
United. I didn't even believe that myself.
You don't even believe that when you're saying it. I can tell. You're not even
Nah, I think we
feeling
will, you know. I think, I just know. I just think Arsenal aren't Spursy, but they're almost Spursy. Must be that part of North London. I don't even know, blood.
Well, you better be careful with them ones there, yeah. Arsenal fans. You know what? I think
No, I just think Arsenal are just. I just think they're just. You guys yo-yo.
I think for a stage though, and credit to Arsenal, Tottenham fans might hate me for this, but I think the power did shift at one stage where I think North London was Tottenham, was white, and Arsenal are slowly clawing it back. But what's nice to see, even with both teams, is that at least they both got managers that are kind of passionate, invested, and they have an understanding or just
the
kind
game.
of philosophy. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, Conte's a big boy manager, and even though it's not clicking right now, I think
Is it clicking? Is it not clicking? Because when they beat Man City,
it was clicking.
It was clicking. And then them man they go lose to Burnley, and Conte is breaking down on camera because only Spurs could do that to a manager.
Yeah,
but,
for real.
But yeah, so
I felt sorry for him actually. Well, when I say feel sorry for him, listen, you get paid. That's the job that you take, and he would have known maybe how deep the issue is or how big the issue is. But yeah, it must be frustrating when you have a plan, you spend weeks on it, you kind of put it out on the training field, you do drills, and then you go onto the pitch and it completely gets unraveled. I mean, who did I watch? I think Everton, Man City, they were battling out 0-0 for most of the game, and one mistake by the defender, I think it was Keane, and then they score. Foden scores, and the whole game's turned on his head. Do you know what I mean? Now, Frank Lampard probably had a plan, had a game plan, and went in there. They were quite kind of resolute, and they were very defensive, compact, and one little mistake, and then boom, game's wide open, 3 points down the drain. Was a blatant handball, by the way.
Fam.
Yeah.
VAR, blood. Like,
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
Let's get into that.
Yeah, fam. I'm not gonna lie, yeah, because even that little narrative of that little narrative AFCON, the officiating being poor and stuff like that. And listen, at times it was poor.
At times it was shocking.
At times it was shocking. But there's that sort of narrative that it's not good or the standard's really low. Or bro, for the English Premier League, like this so-called best league in the world, it's probably the most funded league in the world, the most money in the world, bro. The decisions are shocking.
Yeah.
Like,
It's dire.
it is, bruv, it is not on. Like, even, what's it called? To be fair, I didn't watch it back too much, so who knows? I might get crucified for this. But Ronaldo's one. Watford.
What, a penalty?
Penalty.
Yeah.
Like, bruv.
Clean swipe.
Fam, like, we actually have the ability to freeze time, rewind it,
Slow-mo.
play it, rewind it again. Bruv, you man are still getting it wrong.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, Lampard came out, was very, let's say, pissed off in the nicest way. And he was just saying, incompetence. It's disgusting. Them kind of decisions there can make or break a team. You know what I mean? They're sitting just above relegation. So that point would have been important to obviously what they're trying to do.
And to the league.
Yeah.
For Liverpool.
Well, that's what they were saying as well. Yeah, Liverpool obviously feels like they might have been robbed. I mean, listen, it swings and roundabouts because you see them, but it's the inconsistency for me.
Bro, I think it's just it. The tight ones, yeah, cool. Some of them you think, it's always subjective, certain things. But some of the decisions, man. Someone like that for me.
What are they watching?
Bruv, how?
Yeah. Okay, let me ask you something. So do you think officials, referees, linos, VAR, whatever, do you think they should be maybe not ex-players but have played the game? Because like we watch it, we see it sometimes where when a man's trying to buy a foul. You can tell he's kind of going down before you leave the leg in. Listen, there's a way where you can be clever and win a foul, and there's a way where you're conning the ref. Certain things where if something happens, you playing football yourself, you can blatantly read. Like if a man goes in on a challenge and he
when the
he
studs
puts
are
it
up,
in,
he's trying to leave on him.
There's
when he
some,
steps on man on purpose and he looks back like,
right. Do you know what I mean? Now that he meant that because every player's done it. You know what I'm saying? And I think when you've played the game to a certain level or any basic level or whatever, and you have a decent understanding of the game, you can definitely kind of see or identify certain things. When these officials and these linos, they don't look like they play ball. You feel me? No disrespect. Most of them look sneaky. No one's there. They don't look like they're the ballers and whatnot. And don't get me wrong, we need them because the game wouldn't run without them. But do you think them not playing or the lack of experience in football kind of clouds their decision making?
I mean, for the ones that, for the little nuances and stuff like that, or maybe, but bro, we're talking about just bog standard
handball, innit?
fam.
Yeah.
Like it's just blatant handball. I don't understand how you're not giving it. Like the Ronaldo one, he's moved the ball. Even if you say, people say, no, but the striker, but he bought it. Bro, it's football. If you're going to be silly enough as a defender to lunge in and not get anything on the ball, and if he just shifts it quickly and you make that contact and he goes over, bro, it's a penalty, bruv. We all know it's a penalty.
There's a fine line between players going down and players diving. Where do you see that? And what's your views on it, in a sense where when a player doesn't go down, he doesn't get it. But if a player goes down and doesn't get it, it's like he dived.
Players have to dive.
Do you think it's diving?
Or you have to go down. You have to assimilate in some way, shape, or form. Because as we've seen, like, you don't get rewarded for honesty, bro. You don't. Like, you trying to stay on your feet. Even Ronaldo's one with Ben Foster should have gone down.
Yeah, he should have gone down. I was surprised he didn't go down, to be fair.
But that's my point. He tried to be honest, tried to stay on his feet and stuff. What did you get from it?
We got nothing.
You got nothing. So, as much as, and I think maybe that's why they don't book players as much for diving now. At one stage, there was a phase where, bruv, any little dive, players are getting booked. It was like the in thing for referees to book diving.
Yeah.
But
they
now
definitely clamped down on just the silly tackles and players staying on the floor.
Yeah, that's good.
That definitely
From the
was
Euros,
ruining the
that's
game. Yeah, I like seeing that now. And you see the guy lying on the floor, looking around for the whistle. When it don't go off,
get straight up.
Yeah, and then he's on the move. But just while you mentioned us on the Ronaldo point, I wanted to ask you, what happens to Ronaldo if United don't make top 4 or even the Europa or whatever it is? Like, does he stay? Does he go? Does it tarnish his legacy? Is Ronaldo finished?
Ronaldo can't just leave United like that. I don't think he would.
When you say leave like that, leave to retire or leave to go elsewhere?
If we don't get top 4, obviously there's that argument or there's that question that, he wants to play Champions League football.
Yeah.
Like, does Ronaldo care about his brand more than he cares about Man United? And I think if United don't get top 4 and we're in Europa, then you will see, because there's that argument or there's that grumblings that he might go PSG. PSG might want to sign him.
Could you see that? Ronaldo, Messi,
Ronaldo,
PSG?
I mean, for PSG, it'll be amazing. Can you imagine shirt sales?
Marketing.
If they've got Ronaldo and Messi in their team.
I don't see it working, no.
But PSG, are they more of a brand club than a football club? Like, even if it's for one season that they happen to get Ronaldo and Messi in the same team, Mbappe
towards the end of their careers.
Towards the end of their careers. Just that last little sort of like wow factor kind of thing. And we all know now football is about money more than football. And politics, we'll get into that. But yeah, does Ronaldo stay if Man United are in Europa? Ronaldo's never played
If you were
Europa.
Ronaldo, would you stay if we don't make top 4? I mean, he's a winner, serial winner, big boy player, arguably the best in the world, in some people's opinion. I can see the argument to a degree.
Yes.
If you were Ronaldo, what are you telling me?
If I was Ronaldo, do I stay at United?
If we say we finish 6th end of the season.
I think I leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Do you think the United standard and United way doesn't match up to Ronaldo's standard and way?
Yeah. Yeah. I feel him individually, he's got more drive and more organisation than United as a club.
Yeah, for real.
Just he's coming to the end of his career. He still wants to win titles. I mean, someone might argue, but he's obviously come back to United. Alex Ferguson got him to come back and all that sort of stuff. Like he owes United, that sort of thing. But that's when we go back to that whole loving the club more than the fans love the club.
Yeah.
It's still a business.
Yeah.
Football is a business at the end of the day. And like I said, when the club's ready to ship him off or ship anyone off, they do it, no questions asked.
And it is what it is.
And it is what it is. So, as a Man United fan, do I want him to stay? Yes, of course. I don't want him. But if I was Ronaldo, just thinking about Champions League football, my brand, wanting to score at the highest level, all these kind of things,
Records and whatnot.
records and that. What, and PSG come knocking. Easy league to score in, or easier league to score in, I think, than the Premier League, because it's the hardest league in the world. Next question.
We'll get on to that.
But yeah, I leave.
I hear you still. What I will say, when you mentioned PSG, I watched them last night actually, and
Messi.
they're moving wild in a sense where it's not fully gelling, but when you see
the glimpses
of Messi,
Brother.
Ronaldo, Mbappe, and Neymar, just a little. I'm seeing just glimpses of the old Barcelona when Messi and Neymar used to link up. The quick interchanges, the
Mbappe
1-2s.
just gives it that injection,
Mbappe
though.
is something else. Like, I mean, I've been screaming Mbappe from when he burst on the scene, and I really think that guy is gonna be lethal.
He already is.
Yeah.
But I know what you
But
mean,
he's
but
not even really
he could get
peaked.
better.
Yeah, he's gonna get better. He's definitely gonna get better. All right, boom. Just kind of going back to now what you were saying. We're discussing about the league. I want to get into that because there's this. I don't know if it's a disjuncture, but people have an opinion or an idea that the Premier League is the hardest league in the world and the best league in the world. Where do you sit on that? So in my eyes, it's the hardest league you have the best league for entertainment, and you have the best quality, in my opinion, out of them three. That's how I would normally kind of weigh up a league. Where are you sitting with the Premier League?
I guess. Listen, there's different attributes and stuff. I don't think it's the best technically. I think obviously we said La Liga again. Spanish football's modelled on technique and just that kind of stuff like that anyway.
Ball control, possession based.
Yeah. And they're not a league with a mass amount of foreign influx. Like, I think the Premier League is what it is because of the foreign philosophies and influx that it has.
Okay, explain.
Well, how many English managers do you have? How many, like, English philosophy, English way of playing football, really, what would you say is long ball?
Long ball headers.
Long ball headers, big front man, barging
Just
one out the way.
basically Sunday
physical
league
presence.
upgraded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Slightly.
Whereas when you think about it, it's probably the hardest league in the world because as a team, you have to adapt. Look at Bielsa. Because 1 minute you're playing against maybe more of a German philosophy or something like that. Not necessarily German philosophy, but someone like Klopp. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And then the next week you're playing against Man City, where it's someone like Pep. And then you're playing against Burnley, who play old-fashioned, long ball, physical,
Flat back
whatever.
four.
Yeah, do you know what I'm trying to say? So maybe in that sense, it's the hardest league in the world because as a player, you have to learn how to adapt to different teams you're playing against, to different philosophies from your manager or whatever. So yeah,
Would you say it's the most entertaining league?
I guess you do have to say it. Yeah, I think it is the most entertaining league. It's weird because as much as I say that, I do like watching La Liga. Even the French league recently, I've been watching the French league. It's not as bad as everyone makes out. Like, Farmers League, this and that, bro.
Yeah.
I've seen some techie players in there, and it's very physical. A lot of them African man obviously are in there, and African players are very physical, very very strong. So I think it's quite a physical league as well. So when they talk about the Prem being the most physical league, I don't really know because the French league is, bruv, it looks kind of tough to me. Like Messi gets chopped.
Yeah. I do think obviously he finds it slightly difficult now. He's getting older, slightly slower. A lot of them are quick. A lot of them are, so it's a bit more challenging, I think.
But yeah, I would say Prem, probably the hardest league to play in. Most difficult league to play in. Most entertaining league to watch.
So basically the Prem is the best league then, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Lovely. Because you weren't saying that before.
Do you know what? I wasn't. I'm not going to lie. But
It's a weird one though, sorry to cut you, because when I look at the peak and the prime of like Ronaldinho, when Messi was obviously starting out and he came through, and just watching La Liga then, growing up, Raul, Figo, all of that, I think they still argue that the Premier League was entertaining or better, and I couldn't see it because Spanish football, La Liga back then was popping.
That's what I'm saying. But has it shifted?
It's definitely shifted.
So you think now, if you're a player, prime time, you want to play in England?
Yeah, I think you always want to have a stint in England. You always want to have a go at an English club, because Chelsea, Man City, Liverpool, they're doing crazy bits.
But prime time, like how I can't explain
It's weird.
it.
I think
Ronaldinho could have come
prime
United.
time, you always go Real Madrid, Barca, innit?
Even now.
I think so. Well, Aubameyang was saying that. He said,
And that's the thing. And there you go again. Like, you've got this Premier League. And listen, that's another thing. British media, British press, you look gas up anything. So that's another thing. Like, there's a lot of sheep out there. A lot of people you see in the little comment section. And you man just follow fashion, bro. British media and propaganda, honestly, bruv, killing people.
But that's just because we're in Britain. It's probably the same in other places.
Well, I guess so.
Yeah.
Maybe. But yeah, but the way they gas up a player, even, I can't explain it. Everyone around the world always says, bro, the way you man talk about certain players on the world stage, when you think about it, they're not that. They're not what you make them out to be. Do you know what I'm trying to say? But yeah,
so,
man.
Aubameyang going Barca because he came and said he took a big pay cut, but every player dreams of playing for Barca and Real.
But this
and
is my
even
point.
Mbappe, he dreams of playing for
Real Madrid. And even though now it's almost like even though Real Madrid's not in their prime, you want to be that player that takes them back there again. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So as big as the Premier League is, as entertaining as it is, as much as the old razzle and everyone goes on about it, the biggest clubs in the world, Barca and Real Madrid.
Yeah.
And even when they're not even firing, you're sitting there waiting for something magical to happen there.
Yeah, no, bro.
With Barca and Xavi and stuff, you're sitting there waiting for them to dominate again. It's just.
Yeah, I think they're definitely on the up slowly. Do you know what I mean? They've obviously changed their style of football a lot in the sense where it's gone a long way from the tiki-taka football. Having Traore on the right and someone like Aubameyang, they've definitely come away from the mold of what Barcelona used to be.
Yes.
And that kind of Spanish possession-based football.
I mean, they still pass.
Oh yeah, definitely, and they have obviously.
I mean, look at Xavi. Look, can you show me that video of what Xavi did with that?
Yeah,
was it? I don't know if it's Saudi Arabian team
I
or
think,
Middle Eastern team. Not too sure which one.
Bits,
bro. The way they were moving the ball, blood.
But the old Barca wouldn't sign someone like Traore. They had him obviously, and they let him, but he didn't fit that kind of stuff. Yeah, they've never really had a flying right winger like that.
But again, it's about adapting.
Getting crosses
again,
in.
I feel like today in football, if you do not adapt, you die. Like I think Leeds sacked Bielsa.
Yeah, well, mutual. He left on a mutual. I think he's done so much for them that even
they wouldn't ever come out and say that they've sacked him.
A lot of Leeds fans love him. I think for what he's done, he brought the fan base together. He got them through a few promotions. And he definitely had an idea. I think the league just kind of figured him out a bit. He didn't adapt, like you said. I think he's too stubborn.
Yeah, like your best managers adapt.
Have to.
Yeah, you just have to year by year. Teams are always figuring you out. Teams are always strengthening. When you are not a small club, because Leeds is a huge club in England, but I mean in terms of the progression and stuff. Look at Sheffield
and they
United.
like you said, they lost their spine. I think you were saying.
So
was it
Bamford, Cooper, and Phillips. So
yeah, Phillips was a big miss for them, and Bamford.
For me, them two especially. So it's peak, but it's a shame to see him go because I think his philosophies and stuff were amazing. And again, that's what makes the Premier League the Premier League.
But they were leaking so many goals.
Of course.
Can you call yourself a good manager when you're leaking 14 goals in, I don't know, 3 games or so? Like, something's definitely gone wrong there.
I mean, listen, he's a good manager because he brought them up.
Yeah, he's definitely a good manager.
Yeah, and last season, Leeds were rocking teams. And even now, they're getting pumped. But...
Well, they gave United a run for theirs.
Well, who doesn't?
Yeah.
But, so, yeah, man, I think just having him and in the league and just that Premier League, having all of these, like, foreign managers, foreign influence, a mixture, just a melting pot of different. Which listen, that's Britain, isn't it? When you think,
I think that's what makes it slightly the best now.
No, hands down, that's what makes it the best.
Well, no, I was gonna say just the mixture in a sense because obviously you've got man like Brendan Rodgers, Graham Potter, and I rate them as managers. I think they got not potential. Graham Potter's got potential to be a big manager. Rodgers has kind of done it, but hasn't quite won that much yet in that sense.
FA Cup.
I'm talking about winning like the league and winning the Premier League, winning Champions League. Like if he could have won a Premier League with Liverpool, you know what I mean? You'll be talking about him in a different status if he had won that. But I still think Brendan Rodgers is a top tier manager. Okay, on that point though, just talking about obviously Bielsa going and Leeds having to stay up, Everton just kind of floating above the relegation zone. Let's talk about Newcastle because they definitely shocked me. What are you telling me with that, with their progress, where they're at now? And we'll discuss a bit about their future.
Newcastle look good. They look like it's all kind of just fitting together now.
Coming together, yeah.
Willock's finished.
Yeah, he's gone a few games without a goal, and then he pops up, I think, with 2 in 2 weeks or so. So he's back on form.
Joe Linton again. Just getting that goal, great header. Yeah, Newcastle, obviously, you just don't see them going down now, do you?
No, I think they're 14th now,
Yeah,
or somewhere in and around.
And just the way they're motoring, I think obviously players know. Listen, players are playing for places. A lot of them know that they're not going to be there.
I was going to ask you that, actually. So I'm not going to ask you who you think will stay or not be there. But what happens? Do you think Sam Maximum stays, though?
Ooh. Yeah, I think he's one of the few you keep.
Yeah. And who
no
do you
disrespect.
think, if you were the Newcastle board or whatever, who are you bringing in? Who's your first player that you're bringing in? Like, okay, so say we fast forward, Premier League's done, they stay up, summer transfers. Who are you going for? Are you strengthening the back? Are you going for someone up top? Are you going for a superstar to bring the attention? Like, what's the deal? Who's your first signing as Newcastle in the summer transfers?
First signing.
It's a very difficult one.
That is so mad. Like, what approach do you take? Like, for example, you go and get someone like a Draxler, who PSG obviously it's ain't done bits, but comes Newcastle, big figure. I'm not too sure on his age. He might be tailoring off, but who knows? Someone every time I kind of see him, he's decent.
Yeah, he's
just never really got a
or
run.
someone like an Origi.
Yeah,
He's won what he's won. Now he can
come to Newcastle. He's still only 26. Does Origi come in? Like, fam, it's so difficult, as you said. I mean, what world stars really out there? Like I said, they're not landing Haaland or Mbappe. They're not doing that.
unless they're paying silly money, and even then,
I don't think it's not about the money. I don't think for them lot, they're rich as it is. Well, you say that football and money, who knows? But fam, I don't know. I think a striker.
I think a striker.
Yeah, I think a striker. Who do you got up top now? No disrespect, but Callum Wilson.
He's injured a lot. Yeah,
he can stay fit.
He's just injured a lot. Yeah, I don't think he stays if when the money
comes.
The money's here now, isn't it? I think if they stay up and they start making purchases and buying players, I don't see Callum Wilson staying.
But they've bought a couple. The people they've bought now, people like Dan Burn, Trippier. Do you reckon they bought them just to because they know their way around the league?
I think so.
Just
yeah,
to stay
just
up
to stay up.
quickly?
Yeah, definitely. Because you listen, Newcastle want to be looking in 5-10 years time. They want to be the new Man City. They want to be. That's Man City have spent their money well. We looked at obviously what United spent over 10 years and what Man City spent, hundreds of millions, I believe it is, and just the difference, the gulf.
Yeah, in that decade, no trophies.
In that decade,
United won no trophies.
And it's not even that we've not even won trophies. We've not even really come too close. We haven't really looked exciting. And when you look at what Man City are doing, and as rivals, you think, wow. Do you know what I mean? Take a leaf out of their book for a bit. And I know that's not nice to be saying as a Man United fan, but it's the reality.
Real have to recognize a real boy.
And they're winning stuff, and they're winning with style. And I think that's the most important thing.
That's the most important thing. Everyone says it's about winning. Yeah, it's about winning, but your top teams, they win amazing their fans. They win with their fans walking away like, wow, we won the match, but it was amazing. Goals like Zidane's goal in the final, Bale's goal, bicycle kicks in the final. Like, bro, you can
wow
win. Wow factor.
That's what people pay for.
That's why you got 100,000 seats in the stadium. With all due respect, not to play like Burnley. It's not. So you want your Messis and your Ronaldos, all them kind of players, you know what I'm trying to say, playing the way they do. That's what it's about, man.
Do you think Eddie Howe stays? Is he the man to take them to the next level, in your opinion?
Give him a chance. Crack at the whip. Give him a season or give him a season and a bit. Give him a couple transfer windows. See who he wants to sign. But then, again, give him a chance. I think they should. But then you look at it, has Eddie Howe ever navigated around a team? If they're trying to be up there with Man City and all that kind of stuff, not saying you can't start from the bottom and then get there, but do you not want to be pulling in somebody who has kind of done it already, navigated around a big team, knows how it works, knows the kind of players to go and get in? I mean, with all due respect, what's the biggest thing Eddie Howe's done?
Bournemouth, money. Yeah, they were playing decent football, but
Of
I
course.
mean, small club.
But
in a sense where like
Newcastle's
money
a big
wise,
club, fam.
yeah, Newcastle's huge. But then saying that they tried to get Unai Emery, I think it was Allegri. I think it was Emery, and he turned it down. So it shows you the ilk of manager they were going for, and it shows you.
Yeah, I mean, even Emery, he's in between that kind of.
In between, yeah.
But he wins
He's
Europa
done
League
bits
Cups,
with- yeah,
Sevilla,
exactly.
Villarreal, all that kind of stuff. So he knows how to.
He's got
PSG,
titles.
To be fair, yeah, he's kind of up
Yeah.
there, just below, I would say.
Yeah, just
But,
below the top managers at the minute. But Yeah, so it does show you where they're aiming for. I think obviously Eddie Howe was more of a second, third choice, but he's doing the job. He's coming to do a job and keep him up, and he's doing that. So yeah, no credit.
If
to
we're
him.
not careful, I can see Newcastle like overtaking Man United.
Anyone right now can overtake United, to be honest. Okay, let's get on to just Chelsea actually and the whole Lukaku issue. I feel or believe that there's some kind of underlying issues going on in there. I don't know if Tuchel's got a bit of a... Listen, Tuchel's always been a very outspoken person. I think he clashed with the PSG hierarchy as to why he came to Chelsea. And I always thought, ooh, how many years until he maybe clashes with the Chelsea board or...
Abramovich.
Yeah, and whatnot. So, what's your take on that? Lukaku, Tuchel, why they're not getting the best out of him? He's just come from winning the league in Italy. He's firing hot, had a bit of confidence, had a swag about him, £100 million signing. What's gone wrong?
I guess can you say that interview kind of threw him off course?
Through him, of
Possibly.
course, or through his manager, of course?
I mean, well, put it this way: when he did play, he didn't score. Coming back off the, I mean, it wasn't like he had that interview, came back into playing, and then he got injured as well. To be fair,
yeah, he did. Yeah.
So that always takes a while to kind of find feet again. But Chelsea don't need him.
They don't need him.
Nah.
Well, it's mad because when he first signed, I think a lot of pundits and people were talking and saying that he will be the difference in the league. And I think when you just look at it, just plain for what it is, Chelsea were already popping before he came, but they didn't really have a focal point, number 9 target man, and obviously Werner wasn't cutting it. So bring Lukaku into that establishment is kind of a no-brainer. All you see is titles.
And how well have Chelsea done? You guys aren't contending for the Premier League.
That brings me down
And
to
is that because
how well have they done? Chelsea are doing all right, you know.
No, I mean in terms of
for the league. Well,
they want to win the league, innit?
Yeah, I mean they're
That's
in the
what it
final
is.
of this one. They've just won the
League Cup
Super
final.
Cup. Is it Super Cup?
Yeah,
I
won
think?
the Super Cup and stuff.
Yeah,
Okay, cool. So the
but
Champions
they're
League
third
holders
in this
they're
one.
in the final here, but they're ones to win.
And they might win Champions League again.
Possibly. But yeah, listen, I mean in terms of that domestic, in terms of the Premier League,
Yeah.
have they not quite cut it because Lukaku hasn't been firing on all cylinders? Because as much as I say Chelsea don't need Lukaku, yeah, listen, they pop Havertz in there and he plays well and does this and that. There's still something missing from Chelsea
So
in the league.
do you think they should be playing to Lukaku's strengths? Do you think they're not? Well, I wouldn't say missing the trick because it's Tuchel. He knows obviously what he's doing, but he's come out before and said Lukaku needs to work harder off the ball. Obviously, some people are saying that they don't really try to find him when he does make the runs. The ball
It's a bit
doesn't
of both
come.
still. It's a bit of both.
Yeah. So if you sign a £100 million player, do you not build your team semi around them to get the best out of them?
Yeah. That's why you signed him, to get goals.
Right.
And yeah, he might be having a dry patch or whatever, boom, boom, bam. But at the same time, yeah, Chelsea are doing okay, but Chelsea want to be doing like what Man City's doing. You're contending for the Premier League. You're in the Champions League, FA, all trophies.
Or do you believe the competition is good? Like maybe, I mean,
100%.
Lukaku being on the bench and getting dropped for Havertz might wake him up, because we said the same thing like we're going to discuss about Diaz and maybe Mane being shifted. You know? As soon as I saw Diaz come where he plays, I thought, ooh, Mane, you're in trouble.
Yeah. And I even spoke to like a Liverpool fan before, and he was like, oh, nah, man, Diaz is definitely taking Mane's place. Mane's kind of washed now. And then I thought,
Man just won AFCON.
man just won AFCON.
You know what I mean?
Mane, like, been banging for Liverpool for a while, but listen, that's the game, innit? And competition for places is good. I think you don't want to ever have, especially as a manager nowadays and player power and stuff, you don't ever want to have a player that feels untouchable. I guess someone might argue that's how Aubameyang felt at Arsenal. That's why Arteta needed to get rid of him.
paid.
Yeah, like when you look at City, I don't think they don't have any player that's the guy.
Mm-hmm.
They
It's
don't
true,
have,
actually.
They don't.
Yeah.
Pep is the guy.
Yeah.
When Man United were properly under Alex Ferguson was the guy. When Beckham kind of got a bit, he felt he got a bit too big for his boots, shipped him out. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So your best managers, it is a power struggle. And I think having rotation keeps that going.
Definitely. I mean, definitely as a manager, you can't have a player in the changing rooms that's bigger than the club. I think the only time I've seen that is Messi.
Yeah.
I think certain managers couldn't touch Messi at a certain time in his career. Messi dictates. You probably don't see it
how
a lot.
good he is, bro.
But yeah, I think Messi was the kind of guy where, yeah, you ain't pulling Messi off. you ain't doing certain things. You ain't playing or signing certain people if Messi ain't having it. And he was that good, or he is that good. I don't think anywhere else though I could give you an example of that. To be fair, that comes to the top of my head. So yeah, maybe it is the player power. Because you're right, Man City don't have a real star when you think about it.
They don't. They just play to what Pep wants.
So if Mbappe went Man City,
I don't think it'd work.
you don't think so?
And that's a good question. Mbappe to Man City, would that
Imagine.
work?
Mm-hmm. I mean, Mbappe under Pep. It's carnage, that is.
Possibly it should work. It should work, but I just think the only issue maybe would be kind of ego. But then again, when you're winning trophies, no one really cares. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like,
if it's working, yeah.
Yeah, when everything's working, no one's really too bothered and stuff like that. But Mbappe to Man City, I think that would be dirty. That would actually be dirty if they managed to pull that off. But yeah, flipping. But yeah, back to what you were saying before though. Liverpool, now they signed Diaz. Like, in terms of the front three, it's obviously Salah.
Yeah.
They're always gonna pick Salah.
Yeah. He's probably the biggest player in Liverpool right now.
If
He
anything,
doesn't get dropped.
Yes, Salah, you would say, is their
star.
biggest star. But I think that's why Klopp's also signed Diaz, because if Salah does leave or doesn't sign this contract or they don't offer it to him or whatever, and Salah goes and they've got Jota, Diaz, Mane,
Well, there was talk of Mane even going to Real, I believe, at one stage, which I think he'd do bits there.
I think main front three Liverpool is, in Klopp's eyes, would be Salah,
Jota,
Diaz.
Yeah.
I think.
He always subs Mane.
Always.
Like, yeah, he definitely subs Mane.
And I think Diaz, the way he did hit the ground running, like the first match I saw him, I thought, yo, this guy's sharp. Like,
yeah, he definitely fits the Liverpool style of
he
football.
does, definitely. But
And he'll do bits there.
Jota over Mane? I guess Jota's more down the middle, though, innit? That's the thing.
And
So
he gets
Jota-
them goals, which is why he throws out Firmino. Really. But then you say that it's about kind of integrating, because Man City do the same, and I feel like they do it really well. And it's credit to Pep as well, because it might sound like the Pep show, to be honest. But credit to him, because he's got your Mahrez, Sterling's coming on off the bench. Grealish has just come back from injury, so he'll come into the fold. Foden, and then he has Gundogan. He integrates him, so he definitely changes his front three. Some of them in the middle as well.
I agree with that, but I think out of maybe the top four, whoever the top four is, or top six, whatever, he's probably the only manager who doesn't have a stronger starting lineup. Like, I feel like all the other teams, you kind of know who their strongest players kind of are, sort of thing. Whereas him, I'll be sitting there thinking, like, Mahrez just won't start for like 3 games. You're like, what? This guy's just popping him in. And then he brings him back in. Or look, when you thought Bernardo and Sterling were going to leave in the summer.
And then they're
popping for Man City again. And you're thinking, well, hold on
But that's
a
the
second,
ammunition that they have, isn't it? That's very good ammunition to have. Imagine being able to bring Sterling and Mahrez off the bench or whatnot. And to be fair, at times when I watched United, it was like that. At times I would look at the bench and think, we could bring... It was, at one stage I think it was Rashford, Ronaldo and Cavani on the bench. And I thought, that's not a bad bench to have. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I guess it's just how you make it work. And listen, if you're winning, no one complains. If you're losing, it's a silly sub. You don't know what you're doing.
Ranić, boy.
Exactly. He makes a few crazy substitutes, and I'm like, what is man on? But it bangs.
When it pays off, you can't really say nothing, can you?
What can you say? All right, boom. Let's get into lastly, because we got a little bit left to go. I want to just kind of switch up the mood a little bit and just talk about what's going on around the world. Obviously, football, politics
and football.
The connection.
We're mixing it now.
I'll be honest. During the whole kind of Black Lives Matter movement stuff, taking the knee and fighting for the equality and whatnot, I face a lot of people saying football and politics shouldn't be mixed. Obviously, fans were booing initially. We done a few episodes on that. Credit to the fans now, because a lot of them do clap.
Yes.
But it did take a while
to get that narrative going.
Yes, exactly. Which we shouldn't have had to. But hey, that's the world we live in. So, yeah, a lot of the fans they started clapping, and they kind of, I don't know, they just kind of made it easier for players to kneel and understood exactly where we're coming from. But I was facing this narrative where you don't mix politics and football. Now, obviously, there's issues going on with Russia, Ukraine, and it's actually sad to see. I don't think any innocent people should be going through something like that, not based off someone's decision just to invade. No matter what color you are, I feel like that's not the way to go. Do you know what I mean? So I do feel sorry for them, and it is a difficult time for everyone. So we do send our thoughts out to the people of Ukraine, and to anyone that's out there that's struggling, suffering. We do wish you well, and we hope you come through unscathed. But my main issue on this whole subject, and we're going to touch on little bits, is where did we draw the line with politics, and why is politics and football allowed to mix now, but it wasn't allowed to mix for the black fight?
I mean, you can't help but sit here and, especially as a black brother, and feel like whenever we have an issue, we always have a different pathway. It's always harder. As you said, even getting people to clap at first, people were booing. People didn't even want to kneel. Like Alonso coming out and making his point that he don't even want to kneel or whatever. But bun him. But yeah, I just feel like our struggle was not as important.
No.
And if that's because maybe we as a race of people haven't got the economical power, possibly. Yeah, man. Because even when you think, shout out Antonio.
Yes.
For just speaking up on the whole, just defending Zuma issue and stuff like that. I just feel like even that issue, the way there was a big rigmarole about that in comparison to our struggle and our fight. The players need to come out and speak more.
That is a big deal for me. I definitely think, listen, we're in a world now with social media. Players are coming out and speaking more, and you're seeing stuff like with Rashford and getting the kids the food and what he done, all those amazing things he done there. And you're seeing people obviously speak out a lot more on just racism, equality, and even what's going on in Russia and stuff. People are very outspoken. And it's lovely to see, because it wasn't like that maybe 5-10 years ago or whatnot. But I do feel like we need to do more. My issue is, why haven't any of the black players boycotted yet?
100%.
What's taken so long for a group of, not even just black players, your white players as well, whoever wants to get involved.
Black players have to front it.
Yeah.
You have to front it.
You're seeing train strikes, this and that strike, NHS. People are striking when they feel there's an injustice.
Brother, when the Super League thing was happening, the fans them stormed the pitch, the United pitch, they locked off the game. And even when that happened, obviously your pundits, they didn't condone it, but they didn't condemn it either.
Yeah, they sat on the fence.
They sat on the fence because deep down you get the feeling that they were happy.
Oh yeah, they definitely were.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Oh yeah, most
but
definitely.
I asked myself the question: if fans of ethnic minority or fans supporting the whole racial injustice thing stormed the pitch for a match, how would it be received? How would it be taken?
Yeah. And I think the big problem as well, a lot of people struggle to understand, is they think racial abuse is just words. Like, if you see monkey chants or the N-word or whatever, they feel like, oh, it's not the same as physical abuse. I've seen a few posts on Instagram, comments here and there, and people say, oh, it's not the same as physical abuse. If you're getting hit or having a bottle thrown at you, that's not the same as racism. I don't think people understand the detrimental effect that racism has.
Well, look at Kirkland. My man come out and basically said that Zuma kicking up the kitty cat was worse than than the racial abuse, and you're a mental health advocate. So if I'm a black brother and I come to you now saying that my mental health is under siege because of the racial abuse that I'm getting week in, week out.
My own fans, other fans.
What? You're gonna come and tell me? But you know, there's cats out there that are being kicked. So nonsense.
I mean, I've never known a cat to take his own life.
Listen, they don't even have that, and that's what I mean. It's for me. The problem is how we are perceived as a people. How our problems are perceived as a people. Like, I've had a man say to me, like, oh, you know, basically admit, yeah, you know, I know there's racism, we know there's racism and stuff, you know, but it's never going to change. You have to get on with it. Like, why must I accept that? Why must I just accept, yeah, you know, we're going to be marginalized and no.
Head down, move on.
Head down, deal with it. Why must we walk past statues of our slave masters and just, yeah, you know, Any other people walk past statues of people that oppress them
Right.
and don't say nothing?
I don't see no statues of Hitler nowhere.
Right.
So,
And rightly so.
of course.
And if there was, I'm sure there'll be uproar and outrage. And rightly so.
And take it down.
Yeah. But why is there even an argument about taking a statue down? It shouldn't even be up.
Shouldn't even be
You
there.
shouldn't even be up.
And on that point, it's funny you mentioned, because I watched when they were showing the football, and I think they had Souness, Michael Richards. Yeah, they had them in the beginning of the match, talking about obviously the cat issue and whatever. Now, as a black guy, you can sit there and listen to Souness, and you can hear the racial connotations
100%.
in what he's saying. The terminology that he was using, even things like, if he wants to leave, he can leave our country.
Yeah.
Stuff that he was
Yeah.
saying, I sat there and I could see that Michael Richards was uncomfortable. You could feel it. You can feel it. Even when we saw George Floyd and the issue that happened there with the cop and that, as a black man,
You know what it is.
you know what's going on.
But that's when man, if I talk up, like, I know it's difficult, and do you know what I'm trying to say? But if Graham Souness is big and bold enough to chat his nonsense on live TV, beaming out to millions, Michael Richards, you have to, I know you want to laugh up and smile up and you brought a whole nice sunshine energy to the thing, but sometimes you have to get gritty with them.
Yeah, I do feel I was a bit disappointed with Michael Richards. Listen, I'm a big fan of his. I love what he brings to the football thing. And I do normally find him like very honest, very, very bubbly character. But when I watched that, I sat there and I was fuming more at Souness, but I was looking,
100%.
thinking, raw, like Micah, man never spoke up. Like he mentioned, I think something about just the length of punishment, or like what punishment should kind of be justified and whatnot.
I mean, Souness talking about, what was it? Ban him to the end of the season.
Basically.
I mean, nonsense. This is the same man that said that he sat in a boardroom where them were talking about not hiring black people. What did you do?
Right.
What did you say?
And that was my issue, because when I heard him say that, and he mentioned about obviously giving him maybe a 15-game ban and never playing for West Ham again and la-di-da.
Are you sure, fam?
We saw what Cadella got. Cadella got 10 games.
matches?
Yeah, for racism. I mean, listen, you can pull a hammy and be out for longer than that. You know what I mean? You can, like, people are injured.
Fam, look at the stops they're pulling out for this thing.
Which thing?
What's happening
This
now?
Russia thing. Mm-hmm.
Look
Yeah.
at the madness that's happening. Football pulling out all of this. People
All of
not
the
playing.
stops.
Listen, not once am I saying that they shouldn't be doing that.
Right.
But mine is, why aren't you doing it when it's us?
Yes.
When it's black people.
So because bombs aren't flying in, and because...
But that's part of our oppression. Our people not just oppressed by words. Like, I know that's what you guys see and stuff like that, but if you want to go and talk politics and talk history and stuff like that and colonialism and it's all there.
Yeah, it runs
We've
deep.
died.
It runs.
Do you know what I'm saying?
For
By
many,
the
many
millions.
years. Yeah.
We're still getting
Yeah.
George Floyd. We're still getting
that's,
killed
that's
now.
the issue. What people don't get is we've already suffered 400 years of slavery.
We're still
so
going
to
through
be
it.
in this 21st century and still be going through your oppression, your marginalization, your microaggressions. That's what people aren't getting. They're not understanding.
Bro, I'll be honest with you. Listen, there's even, which is on BBC News, even in Ukraine with the madness that's happening, God save them, God help them or whatever. There's a story now that ethnic minorities are being marginalized,
Yeah.
not being allowed on the trains.
Yeah.
Officials, so even in the depths of your country facing complete extermination, somehow some officials or some kind of narrative, whoever's leading it, you still find the energy to stop blacks, Asians and that coming on the train.
Boarding the
Shouldn't you be
trains.
pumping all that energy into defending your country?
Yeah.
But even then, there's still that hierarchy, there's still that narrative where you feel like we're the lowest of the low. And that is why players need to come out and say something more. When Antonio came out and actually asked that question to that reporter,
Yeah, she
I
was
was
stuttering.
like, yes, yes. Ask the question back.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? 100%. We should have been asking Kirkland to apologize. We should have been asking Souness to apologize.
And that's my point. Why aren't they?
Why aren't you apologizing?
Who's leading this thing for the man?
But
because
people make comment about other people, they have to apologize.
Back to boycotting. I'm not gonna lie. When I look at the black players in the league and in the lower leagues, I mean, off top of our head, we can name you how many. Mendy, Mane, Lukaku, Willock,
Walker
Rashford,
Peters.
loads
Yeah,
of them.
yeah.
Enough of them.
Yeah.
So if the black players came out and said, "Yo, we're boycotting," or "We're going on strike," or "We're not playing a game until these things get resolved," we would definitely have a lot more progress than we are with just taking the knee. Listen, I was for taking the knee when it came out.
100%.
I
But
think
that-
it was
but
a
we
good
always
start.
said not the only thing to happen.
Right. And it's just happened now and it's just fizzled. It's just something they do every game.
Shout out Dini.
Yes.
Because he's done something like, that's what I mean.
Real-
and with all
real
due respect to
change.
Dini, with all due respect, there's a lot more bigger, high-profile names
in football
than
Troy Deeney.
Black, African, Caribbean people or whatever than Troy Deeney.
100.
And he's pushing for the what's it called? Basically the education system.
Yeah.
To teach more about ethnic minorities and the history of Britain, because we play a massive part in the history of Britain or England, whatever you want to call it. So stuff like that. And I sit there and I think, well, what else has happened? Like,
Right.
there's only so much we can sit here and do and talk about and try to put out there. You celebrities and that, you lot have the pull power.
Yeah.
You lot are the ones that can change the narrative. But there needs to be some kind of collective, I feel, for Black, African, Caribbean, however you want to term it, for our struggle and our need and our rights. Because at the end of the day, no one is forefront in that. So it's all well and good, some of you celebrities going on the TV and being the only black face that's there and looking like inclusion and diversity. But what are they really doing?
They're basically tokens.
Your tokens.
Yeah.
Because when we DM you and ask you to support certain things, you want to read messages, not reply. Read messages, not reply. What's her face?
Enya
Luko.
Yeah.
So-
So actually on that point, because when you come to the token thing as well, people need to understand, it's like when they say, oh yeah, but I'm not racist, I got black friends, or I'm not racist because I slept with black people, or they're not racist because they've got a black person on the panel. So I see Enya Luko everywhere. And obviously they're trying to do this narrative where they're bringing more black presenters. And yeah, it's nice and yeah, it's good, but it's about using that position of power to speak up in the right times. So when I mentioned about Michael Richards, love seeing him on there, love what they're doing, but he should have challenged Souness and said to him, okay, so do you think this is worse than racism? Because let's be honest, it's not a thing where we're just bringing in race. Kirkland brought up race first.
100%.
Yeah, so he's brought up the narrative of race and the comparison, and then we discuss it. So I don't really
And to be
understand.
fair, even if he didn't, I'd still bring it up.
100, yeah.
Because you're damn right we're bringing it up.
Yeah, for real. But so with the sense with Enya Luko, so you see all of these things happening and people are talking about hate online and let's change this, let's change that. I mean, in regards to someone like her, you see her and you think, oh, she's doing bits for representing black people.
But there's no unity there.
There's no unity.
There's no unity there.
There never is.
Because, and that's what I mean, not to send a shot, but as we said, real recognize real.
Yeah.
We're messaging to say, yo, we're trying to get some of people we're trying to get certain people. We've spoken to Troy Townsend. Shout out Troy Townsend.
Yeah.
We've got another
Real
ex-Premier
G.
League football player that wants to speak to us. I'm not going to say no names yet, but he wants to speak to us. He's been liaising with us. So people that have of that higher ilk that have done things or whatever and trying to do it, and they're just liaising with us, want to help us do
And it's
the
all
thing.
for the cause.
All for the cause at the end of the day.
Most
Man, they're getting
definitely.
paid for this. You understand? So at the end of the
Not
day,
yet anyway.
man, hitting her up. She's reading the DM. You're not replying. So you've read it. We hit you up again about something. You read the DM. You don't reply. But then when you get drawn out for giving man air, you wanna be sending essays
She tried to say what I'm guilt tripping
and talk
her.
about guilt tripping. How we guilt tripping you?
I'm guilt tripping her into fighting for the black fight,
How?
basically. When
How?
we both look the same.
And
So that's my issue. So don't come on
TV and
and
look
talk
like you're
about
trying. Yeah, bruv.
rights.
Because at the end of the day, you're just becoming exactly what they want. Just putting that black person in that place to look like they're doing something.
that puppet.
And that's not me
Exactly.
saying that you're not doing anything. I don't know. You might be doing
Well,
something.
she
but
had
it's
her
not
own
enough.
racial. She had her own racial issues actually,
Well, there you go.
with the FA and whatnot, and she obviously challenged that. So she's done parts on her side. Credit to her.
Of
because
course.
we do need more people challenging the higher ups and the higher powers. But I feel like when
We're there,
when your black players or your black people come to you, we should work as a team.
100%.
I think there's always strength in numbers. And
100%.
my one is, what fight are you really fighting if you want to dilute the numbers? So listen, all she had to say to her, man, really was, guys, love what you're doing. At the minute, I can't be involved, or I'm doing something, or whatever. I don't.
considering you actually read the message.
Yeah, it wasn't about her saying yes. It wasn't
100%.
about her, not
If
at
you're
all.
busy and you can't help, or
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
fine.
Listen, enough people I've messaged hit
Don't
them up.
reply or
Yeah.
don't read it. But man, if you
Exactly.
can't read, not reply, and then when we say raw, what you can't
Gonna
even
air,
message,
man.
then you're giving man cheek.
And then you're giving man two
Two
pages of
page novels or like all
right.
of that kind
So
of nonsense.
anyway, this ain't even gonna be about the Rip Any show, cause I can't stand her, to be honest. Every time I see her on my TV, man, lock off, cause I can't stand her. Like, I'll be honest. I don't like fake people that come into the what do you call it? Into the press, or they're on your TV and they portray this certain narrative, but behind the scenes they ain't really fighting or talking that fight. I'm not even gonna say this other brother's name because he tragically passed. But he was in football quite heavy as well, whatnot. We worked in a group on some charity stuff, and we were all in one group chat. Everyone was talking about how we're gonna help the community and help not just black equality but the community as well.
Of course, everybody.
And we all sat down on Zoom calls and we spoke about things and which way to change stuff. And man hit them up and was like, "Yo, obviously we're doing this, boom, boom, bam." And man just basically
Cold shoulder,
yeah, cold shoulder.
Love what you're doing.
Barely
That's it.
said anything. Yeah, barely replied. Just kind of just brushed man off like we weren't in the same group chat. Like we weren't in the same group trying to work
do
on
the
it.
same thing.
Exactly. So my one is fake half the time.
A lot of people want to be the first to help. As you said, it's like people recording when they give someone money, like when they give a homeless person money and they're recording themselves and stuff like that all the time. It's like, yo, that narrative of if you're gonna help a man, help a man.
Yeah,
A lot of people-
I'm for that to a degree because I think when there's a lot of negativity online, and whenever I see someone helping someone, regardless of why they're
course.
recording it, it's nice to see.
Of course.
And it does make you sometimes think, yo, I could give a man a $5. Let me help that brother. Let me help this woman.
I think
Let
you
me
know the
help.
ones when sometimes you feel like
When it's
like,
forced. Yeah, but then
exactly.
again, listen, the negative stuff online is forced too. So
True.
if they want to force positive stuff, I'm like, yo, be my guest, because if you've helped that person and you've recorded it, I don't care if you're doing it for clout. In my eyes, you've
You
helped
still
someone.
help someone.
Right. That £5 or £10, whatever you gave them, means more than anything. So it's a fine line for me. But at the end of the day, when I look at the black fight in football, not just even the rest of the world and whatever
Yes.
we're going through, there's no unity.
None.
And that's my point exactly. When I mentioned this other one and them type of people there's no unity, there's no cohesion, nothing. And when you see issues with anti-Semitism or even issues like now in Russia and whatnot, everyone's united.
Look how everyone pulls together.
Everyone pulls together. And it starts with them, the people. Listen, credit to them. I've seen the Ukrainian women, they're out there.
100%.
Some of them, they're helping with, what do you call it?
Supplies and all that kind
and
of
stuff.
things.
They're
Yeah,
singing their
100%.
national anthem. Yo, credit to them, of course. Yeah, I mean, you can't get moved from where you are. But when it comes to the black fight, where are our black people? Where are all these big figures like the guys I mentioned? Why is there not a group chat where the man them say, yo, this week we're down in tools, we're going on strike? The
As you
minute
said.
you go on strike and you affect
You say
the
something.
higher ups' pocket, people start
You say
listening.
something.
Exactly.
And how we had, as you said, I personally think we should have had a boycott by
2
now.
years in, since the marches and that, not one boycott.
And as I said, what when you think about it, what else has really? It started and it kind of went a bit quiet, and then it just, you know what I'm trying to say, they're kind of just doing it through the motions now. And as you said, that's why the knee's not holding no weight, because there's nothing else to support it.
All the
There's
weights
nothing
on the knee. For real.
There's nothing else happening. So
Yeah.
again, shout out Dini.
Yeah. Shout
shout out
big love
Antonio.
to Dini. Yeah, big shout to Antonio.
Let's start asking these questions. And as I said, not just us asking it behind the scenes, or not behind the scenes, but from lower down, grassroots kind of level.
Yeah,
you
because
man are there.
we ain't in no
We ain't
position
there.
to change nothing right now.
100%. You man are there, you know. You man are in these kind of circles. You man can talk on a platform that millions of people are watching. So when you get a chance to come out and say something, especially if somebody's sitting there disrespecting the thing,
Speak up.
Speak up, man.
Yeah.
Speak up.
Yeah.
Because
What I will
Suna's done that
say-
a few times.
What I will say, and it is difficult because I've been there in many situations just in walk of life, and I'm sure other black people have as well, is when you are the token or when you are the only black face there, it is sometimes hard to fight the system and speak up because you're still isolated, if that makes sense. I think, like I said, strength in numbers. If you're the only one, it takes a lot of bottle, takes a lot of courage, and a lot of sacrifice as well.
And listen, it might not have been the time. He might not
It
have felt
have
it's the
been
time.
I mean, listen, watching it definitely was the time. I think
Well,
the way
there you go.
Sunez was going off, and I was watching it, I'm thinking, raw, like, what's man really trying to say here? Because I knew what he was trying to say.
Yeah, and I
he
think
just
we know.
wasn't saying it. He was
We
using
know.
so many subliminals,
Of course.
and he weren't basically trying to say it, but he's a
Go
racist,
back to your own
blood.
country.
Basically, he's
If
trying
you
to say,
can't-
listen,
if you don't
our
like
English,
it here-
our British culture, we love cats. Don't come over here, be doing your nonsense and whatnot.
Yeah.
And you could see where he was coming from. And like I said, the amount of vim that he was given with this cat issue, he was disgusted. But I've never seen him react like that to
disgusted
racism.
with
Never,
racism,
Never,
yeah.
never. I've never seen the disgust on his face and the passion and all of that when it comes to racism. And listen, maybe he don't give a shit about racism. Cool, whatever.
Yeah.
But
don't come in on my TV
and voicing your
giving that kind of angle, bro.
exactly.
Don't be doing
and
that
Michael
nonsense.
Richards should have checked him and been like, not even in a difficult way, not even in a disrespectful way, just said to him, okay, so what's your stance on the narrative with,
Of course.
you know what I'm
I
saying?
wanna ask you. Put him
it
on
out
the
there.
spot.
Yeah, because listen, it's all well and good us fighting racism and all these other injustices when it's kind of pre-planned and it's
Yeah.
a PR.
But when it's boom, spur
When
of the
it's-
moment,
right.
then it's how you really think.
Right.
What's your mind really saying? Don't just do it because of PR. You know what I'm saying? Don't just
Exactly.
be putting
They
a
have
couple
a
black people in your
script.
adverts.
They have a script and they all go through it and they
Yes.
wear the armbands and they take the
Yes.
knee and it's racism week. And listen, that's all lovely, whatever, cool. But my one is on the spur of the moments, them awkward conversations, when you have these situations like Sooners and whatnot, man, I have to challenge it. Because that's when you get the real truth, the real answers, and that's when you get some real clarity.
100%.
You understand? So,
100%.
yeah, listen, I mean, it's always a difficult topic. I think whenever we talk about race or equality and you put that narrative out there, you're always going to have people with
Different views.
Yes.
Apologies if we offend, but at the same time, it is what it is.
It is exactly what
I'm
it
a black
is.
brother. I feel what I feel. I see what I see. I say what I say. Yeah, and listen again. I reiterate. Condolences to the people that have lost their life in Ukraine.
100. And anywhere else across
and
the world.
anywhere else across the
because
world.
this genocide things happen
Happening-
everywhere. It
Listen.
ain't just Ukraine and Russia.
Yes,
There's a lot of other places, other countries that are going through this as we speak.
100%.
All different colors and creeds.
100%.
So no one wants to see that.
No one.
Do you know what I mean?
So
Humanity.
yeah, man. And listen, as I said, I don't even know the ins and outs of all of that. There's some kind of history. I'm sure there'll be people on the Russia side that will tell you it's right. I don't know. So
But innocent people shouldn't be
innocent
dying.
people shouldn't be dying
100.
at the hands of people's decisions. That's all I know.
And people in power.
Right. And again, it's not always play the race card, the black thing. This is about equality.
Right.
This is about we only talk it because we're the most marginalized. At the end of the day, if we weren't, I wouldn't be up here screaming it all the time.
100.
You know what I'm trying to say? But
Yeah, no, most
listen,
definitely. Most definitely.
people them, as you always know, chat with champions. We talk the realness. We love talking the football stuff, but we also talk about the real life stuff because football is part of our society. It affects real life, affects football, and football affects real life.
I don't want to hear this narrative no more about football and politics.
Politics, so Pretty
because
Patel,
I'll be honest,
shut your mouth.
Right. Yeah, idiot anyway.
Shut your mouth.
Because you know what's crazy? With that narrative, she came out and said,
They're allowed to boo.
They're
and
allowed
that.
to, yeah.
But these people are still in power.
right. But like I said, and I might sound like I'm repeating myself, with the whole Russia issue and the invasion of Ukraine, politics came into it in football.
Like that.
in
No one
seconds.
even questioned
No one
it.
questioned it. No one questioned it. Do you
And
know what I
rightly
mean?
so.
Oh, no, they shouldn't. Yeah, definitely.
Right, I'm not saying it should be different. I'm just saying why is ours different?
Different. Exactly.
And on that question, my people, them episode 8, as I said, it's gonna be juicy. I'm sure we've even run over, but when we're talking about serious things, I'm in a care. So yes, guys, remember at Champions Challenge, CHAMP1ONS Challenge, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Same thing, Champions Challenge campaign. Yeah, man. DM us. Let us know anything else you want us to talk about. Any other bits and pieces. People, them stay safe, please.
Love.
Stay blessed. Love.
One.
See you soon.
We be them champion. I got a draw, ball in the box, we be them champion. I'm repping the squad, badge on the top, we be the champion. Getting them gone, I bang on the up, just like a champion. Straight to the top, moving like clock, we be them champions. I got a draw, ball in the box, we be them champion. I'm repping the squad, badge on the top, we be the champion. Getting them gone, I bang on the up, just like a champion. See the way that I manage this team. Always getting hella messy out here. See the way that we damage your team. Always getting hella techie out here. See the way we dismantle your team. On the field, we just bang on the green. You might leverage a man on the screen.